Hello, so welcome to our biology May-June paper 2 for 2024, paper 2 to 2024. Alright, so we'll do this paper and see it all together. Alright, question number 1 says, which process is carried out by all organisms? We have growth, photosynthesis, sexual reproduction, and transpiration. Alright, so here you can see transpiration usually occurs in plants. Sexual reproduction occurs in some plants and in animals. Alright, photosynthesis occurs in plants and growth. So here it's growth that can occur in all living organisms. So here we'll sort out growth. Number 2 says, what is the first part of the scientific name of an organism using binomial system? Alright, so when we are using a binomial system, we normally start with the genus name, which is usually written with the first letter as a capital letter of that name. Alright, and then the second name is usually the species name, which begins with a small letter. So here it is genus. Number 3 says, the diagram shows a plant cell in which labeled part of the cell is glucose made. If you look at the cell, we see that it has cell wall, it has vacuole, it has chloroplast, and it has nucleus. Cell wall, this one is maintaining the shape of the cell. Alright, nucleus contains hereditary information. Chloroplast, this is a part that does what? Traps sunlight so that photosynthesis can take place. And what is the product of photosynthesis? One of them is glucose. So definitely, glucose is made within the chloroplast of the cell here. Number 4 says, the diagram shows an epidermal cell from an onion plant. The distance between X and Y of the diagram is 60 millimeters. The actual length of the cell is between X and Y is 150 micrometers. Okay, what is the magnification of the cell? Now, in order to calculate the magnification of the cell, we have to ensure that they are all in the same unit. All right, and we know that magnification is usually equal to the observed image over actual image. All right, and we have seen here that the distance between X and Y, which stands as the observed image, is going to be 60 millimeters. All right, but the actual one is 150. Now we convert them to 1 unit over here. We convert. All right, so when you convert them to 1 unit and then you work it out, take magnification over and we convert them to similar units. So when we convert these 60 millimeters into micrometers, it will be 60,000. Is 1 millimeter equals to 1,000 what? Micrometers. All right. So when we work it out, it will be 60,000. Divide it to 150. Work it out, 60,000. Divide to 150. All right, then divided to 150 we get 400. So obvious magnification is times 400. All right, then we go to number 5. Number 5 says, some plant cells are placed in distilled water for 1 hour. Which description of the condition of plant cells after 1 hour is correct? Now, the plant cell has been placed in water. So if it's placed in water, it means water moves from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration. So definitely it will move from where it is put, let's say in a container, into the plant. And of course, at the end of the day, this plant cell will keep on swelling. As the plant cell keeps on swelling, we say that it is turgid. Number 6 says, which diagram represents active transport? Now, active transport, this is the movement from a region of low concentration to a region of high concentration using what? Energy. All right, so it is from low to high. Okay, so when we come to look at descriptions here, A cannot be a choice because the arrow indicates we are coming from high to low. So is C, it comes from high to low. Then we have D and B. Okay, so if you look at B, it is movement from low to high, and of course there is what? Energy. So our choice is going to be B. Number 7 says, the diagram shows the base in a section of a DNA from one strand. What is the base sequence on the complementary DNA strand? Alright, so always A is paired to T, C is paired to G, T A, T again A, C G, A T, G C, T A, C, G. Alright, so we'll have to look at that one. T, G, A, which is actually D. So we'll choose D over here. Number 8 says, the graph shows the effect of pH on rate of enzyme catalyzed reaction. What explains the effect of pH on this reaction? Alright, so we have pH increases from 5 to 7, the kinetic energy increases. As pH increases from 7 to 9, the frequency of enzyme and substrate collision increases. The shape of enzyme active site changes as the pH increases from 7 to 9, and the substrate denatures at pH of 7. Alright, so we can see at pH of 7, the reaction is at the peak, so the substrate is not denatured here. Okay, the pH increases from 5 to 7, kinetic energy increases. As pH increases from 7 to 9, the frequency of enzyme substrate collision increases. The shape of enzymes active sites changes as the pH increases from 7 to 9. Alright, so as the pH is increasing, the shape of the enzyme active site is also increasing. That's why we can see there's something like a fall in rate of reaction as the pH is increasing from pH 7 to pH 9. So for there, we'll choose C. Number 9 says, which sentence explains the importance of vascular bundles for photosynthesis? Okay, so vascular bundles transport carbon dioxide. That is not true. They either transport water and mineral salts, or they transport the products of glucose. Alright, so vascular bundle transports oxygen, also not true. Vascular bundles transport starch to the leaf. Vascular bundle transport water to the leaves. Alright, so vascular bundles usually transport water to the leaves but not starch to the leaves, because the leaf, this is a site for photosynthesis. So we'll choose D. Number 10 says, which substance is a product of protein digestion? Alright, now when protein are broken down, they are usually broken down into their smallest units, which are known as amino acids. So here our choice will be A. Number 11 says, which organ produces amylase? Is it gallbladder? Gallbladder usually stores bile. Kidney is involved in filtration to form urine. Esophagus, this connects the mouth to the stomach, so it just does the movement of food. Okay, the peristaltic movement of food. And then pancreas, this one here secretes the digestive enzyme pancreatic amylase. Alright, so pancreas is the one that makes amylase. Number 12 says, which substance is absorbed by lactose in the villi? Is it amino acid, fat acid, lactic acid, or hydrochloric acid? Now, the substance that is usually absorbed is fat acids. Okay, fat acids and glycerol, these are the smallest units of what? Of a nutrient known as lipids. So it is fat acids, B. The diagram shows parts of the alimental canal. Where is most water absorbed? Now the question says, where is most water absorbed? Because we are talking of water being absorbed, it will be D, which is the small intestine. But if we are talking of reabsorbed, that is going to be the large intestine, which is C. Okay, number 14 says, the diagram shows a cross-section of a villus. On which cell surface are microvilli found? Now, where do you find microvilli? When you look at the diagram here, you have parts labeled A, you have the lacteal, right? You have part labeled B, which is like cell membrane, along the lacteal. You have part C, you have the capillary over here. And you have part D, and these are like some cells within the villi. Now, the villi is within the small intestine, okay, within the villus. Then microvilli are usually small foldings on top of what, or around the membrane of the villi. Alright, so these ones will definitely be represented by letter D. Alright, so it is D. Number 15 says, which features of xylem vessels provide support to plants? Cells are joined end to end. No cell contents. No cell contents allows continuous flow. No cross walls, also so that we can have continuous flow. Lignin present. So lignin is the one that is providing support to the plant. So here we'll choose D. Number 16 says, which change in an environmental factor will increase rate of transpiration? increasing rate of transpiration. Is it decreasing humidity, decreasing light intensity, decreasing temperature, decreasing wind speed? When wind speed is increased, transpiration increases. Increasing temperature also results to more loss of water, hence transpiration will increase. Decreasing light intensity does not affect humidity, does not affect transpiration. Now, humidity. When humidity is decreased, it means there's less amount of water vapor present in the atmosphere. Alright, so when it is decreased, it means we'll have increased rate of what? Transpiration. So it will be A. Our choice here will be A. Number 17 says, which statement describes translocation? Now, translocation, this is known as to be the movement of the products of photosynthesis from the source to the sink. Alright, so the movement of amino acids and sucrose from source to sink in phloem, movement of amino acids and sucrose from source to sink in xylem, movement of amino acids and sucrose from sink to source. It's always from source to sink, and definitely it takes place in the phloem, so that is A. Number 18 says, which pathway is taken by blood in fish? So blood in fish usually passes by the heart only once. Okay, so it definitely starts from the heart, which is the heart pumps deoxygenated blood. Then the deoxygenated blood moves from the heart to the gills, where gas exchange is taking place. After gas exchange has taken place, this blood then flows to the body, other parts of the body. Then after that, it returns back to the heart, so it will be C. Number 19 says, which component of blood produces antibodies? Plasma, platelets, red blood cells, white blood cells. Alright, so the part is usually white blood cells, because white blood cells have lymphocytes that can produce red blood cells. Number 20 says, the Coryrobacterium produces a toxin which affects humans. What is an effect of this toxin in the human body? So this toxin usually results into production of chloride ions into the lumen of the small intestine. Okay, now the concentration of chloride ions in the lumen of small intestine results into what? Decrease in water potential in the small intestine. A decrease in water potential in the small intestine results to water to move from neighboring cells into the intestine, eventually leading to production of watery feces. So the secretion of chloride ions from the blood into the lumen of the small intestine. Yes, so that would be B. Number 21, these changes occur in the human body during exercise. Breathing rate increases, the rate of respiration increases, nerve impulse sent from the brain to the intercostal muscles and diaphragm. Receptors in the brain detect increased concentration of carbon dioxide. What is the correct order of these changes? Alright, so the first thing is that the rate of respiration increases as long as someone is exercising. Now, after rate of transpiration increases, this one should be the first. After rate of transpiration respiration has increased, it means more carbon dioxide is produced. So the receptors will carry this information to the nerve cells in the brain. Okay. Now, after they have carried this information to the nerve cells of the brain will eventually bring about more impulse being sent to the intercostal muscles and diaphragm, so that at the end of the day, the rate of respiration does what? Does increase. Alright, yes. So the first thing will be rate of respiration increasing. Then after that, receptors will detect increased carbon dioxide concentration, and then nerve impulse will be sent to the what? To the intercostal muscles and diaphragm, and eventually breathing rate will increase, and that is 2, 4, 1, 2. Number 2 should start, then number 4 comes next, then number 3, which is D here. Number 22 says 2 molecules of glucose are aerobically respired. How many molecules of water are produced? So we know that glucose is C6H12O6. Alright, so it's undergoing aerobic respiration. So 6 molecules of glucose like that will give us what? 6 carbon dioxide plus 6 molecules of what? Of water, like this. Now, how many molecules of water are produced when 2 molecules of aerobically respired. If 1 molecule of glucose here, only 1 C6H12, gives us 6 molecules of what? Of water. Now what about 2? It means the 2 molecules, it means the number of water molecules will also double. So it will go from 6 plus 6, it will be what? 12. So our choice here will be D. Number 23 says, which substance has higher concentration in renal vein than in renal artery? Carbon dioxide, glucose, oxygen, urea. Alright, so in the renal vein we will have high concentration of what? Of carbon dioxide, because this is the blood that is being carried back to the heart and then to the lungs for gas exchange. Where are amino acids deaminated and converted into urea? So this part is usually the liver. Alright, so the liver is where deamination takes place. Which process moves neurotransmitters across the synapse? The neurotransmitters usually diffuse across the synapse. Alright, so here we'll say choice B. Number 26 says, when blood glucose concentration is low, which hormone is released and which organ releases it? Alright, so when blood glucose is low, the hormone that is usually released is glucagon. Why? Because glucagon converts glycogen to glucose. And glucagon is a hormone produced by the liver. So it is going to be B. By the pancreas. It's going to be B, not liver, by the pancreas. Number 27 says, a shoot grows towards the direction of light. These statements compare shoot cells on the side in the light with cells on the side in the shade. The statements are, cells on the side in the light have more oxygen. Cells on the side of the shade have more oxygen. That is correct. Cells on the side of the shade have more oxygen. So we'll take number 2. Cells on the side of the light elongate more. Cells on the side of the shade elongate more. So the side with more oxygen elongates more. These two are correct. Okay. Which statement explains why the shoot grows towards light? Okay. It is because it grows towards light because there's oxygen. They have more oxygen. Alright, apart from having more oxygen, the oxygen promotes more elongation. So that is sentence number 2. Cells on the side of light elongate more. Oh yeah, supposed to be here. Cells on the side of light elongate more. Okay. Cells on the side of shade elongate more. D. Okay. Which statement about antibiotics is correct? Now antibiotics, these ones here, treat or destroy bacteria-caused infections. They destroy bacteria by affecting or destroying the cell wall of the bacteria, clumping them together like that, but they do not kill viruses. So antibiotics are used to treat all transmissible diseases. No, they cannot treat diseases that are not caused by bacteria. Antibiotics are used to treat diseases caused by viruses. Not true. Antibiotic resistance can be stopped by increasing their use. No. Antibiotics are used to treat diseases caused by bacteria, which is right. Number 29 says, Fusarium wilt is a fungal disease of banana that can be spread quickly through banana population. The table shows the area affected by Fusarium wilt over time in one country. Alright, so we have different areas and we have the area that is affected by Fusarium wilt in hectares. Okay, so our question goes to say, what was the percentage increase in area affected with Fusarium wilt from 1976 to 1999? So 1976 we had 1,200, in 1999 we had 3,000. Now to get percentage increase, it means it will be 3,000 minus 1,200 over 1,200, and of course the answer is multiplied to 100. Let me work it here. 3,000 minus 1,200 divide to 1,200, 1.5. So 1.5 times 100 becomes 150. So 150%, which is actually C. So we'll choose C here. Then we go to number 30. The diagram shows part of a flower. Which processes have taken place? Alright, so if we look at it, we can see there's a growth of a pollen tube, this one here. So if there's a growth of a pollen tube, it means pollination has taken place. Pollen has landed on the stigma and the pollen tube has grown, hence the pollen is moving down into the what? Into the oval through the pollen tube. Now, what process has taken place? Fertilization has pollination has definitely taken place. But what about fertilization? We see that the pollen tube has actually grown, but not yet, because the pollen has not yet fused with what? With the ovule in there. So we'll definitely say that pollination only has taken place. So it will be C. Number 31 says the diagram shows parts of the placenta and umbilical cord, and we can see part of the placenta. We have the maternal blood, we have the fetal blood. Then we have umbilical vein over here, we have umbilical artery, we have the umbilical cord in itself. The umbilical cord has umbilical artery and umbilical vein in it. And then we have direction of blood. So we can see in the umbilical artery, blood is kind of flowing back to the what? To the maternal blood or the placenta. Now, what is the function of umbilical vein? Umbilical vein, this one here usually transports umbilical vein. This one here usually transports. Yes, and umbilical vein usually transports oxygen to the fetus. As you can see, umbilical artery points the arrow moving away from the fetus back to the maternal blood. But for umbilical vein, the arrow is usually going from the maternal blood to the fetus. So it is bringing oxygen and nutrients and other useful substances to the fetus, which is D. Okay. Number 32 says the graph shows how the mass of DNA per cell changes before, during, and after nuclear division in a diploid cell. So we have the mass of DNA at this time, and then we have at this time and here again. Now, which row describes the type of nuclear division and the chromosome number of the daughter? Now, we can see primarily we had this number, okay? Let's say number X. Then with time, this number increased, and after it increased, it returned back to the original number, which is number X. So the number of chromosomes was kind of maintained. Alright, so if the number of chromosomes is maintained, then that definitely has to be mitosis. Alright, mitosis, then it was mitosis, then the number doubled or increased at this point, and then after that we went back to our original number. So if there's division again, we expect the number to rise and then fall. So that is what? Mitosis, which is C. Number 33 says, in a family of two parents, the two parents have blood groups A and B, and the three children have blood groups B, B, O. What is the genotype of the parents? Alright, so we have a parent who has blood group A, and of course they have a child with blood group O. So definitely this parent with blood group A has to be like this. And they have children with blood group B also, but also a child with blood group O. So this parent has to be like this. Alright, when we do our parent square, okay, it will be this way. I-A-I-O here, and then I-B-I-O. This child here will be blood group AB. This one here will be blood group B. This one here will be blood group A. And this one here will be blood group O. So we can see the best one, which will give us B and O, is AO parent and BO. Alright, so that is C. We choose C. Number 34 says, which statement describes type of variation? Continuous variation is usually caused by environmental factors only. It is caused by environmental factors and genetic factors. That is continuous variation. Continuous variation results in limited range of phenotypes with no intermediates. That is the continuous variation. It is the one that has no intermediates, but for continuous variation has intermediates. Discontinuous variation is usually caused by genes only. That is true. Discontinuous variation results in range of phenotypes between two extremes. So the correct statement here is C, statement C. Then number 38, the photograph shows a water lily plant, which is a hydrophyte. Alright, so it means it is in water. Which statement explains why stomata are located on the upper surface of the leaf? Okay, to allow carbon dioxide from the air to enter the leaf for photosynthesis. To allow carbon dioxide produced by the process of photosynthesis does not produce carbon dioxide. It uses carbon dioxide. To allow oxygen from the air to enter the leaf for use in photosynthesis, oxygen is not used for photosynthesis, rather it is used for respiration. But of course, this oxygen can dissolve in water. They can use dissolved oxygen. So definitely it's going to be A. Number 36 says, which term is used when humans cross individuals with desirable features? So it is based on the features that humans want. This is usually known as selective breeding, choosing according to the desire. Number 37 says, which diagram shows part of the nitrogen cycle? A, nitrogen gas in the atmosphere undergoes nitrogen fixation to give us nitrates, but denitrification does not form nitrates. Okay, denitrification means nitrates are converted back to atmospheric nitrogen, which is here at B. C says nitrates under nitrogen fixation converts nitrogen in the atmosphere into nitrates and not the other way around. D, again, nitrogen fixation does not convert nitrates into nitrogen gas. So the correct choice is going to be B. We choose B. Number 38 says, what is an advantage of growing crops as large-scale monoculture? Biodiversity is increased. No, it decreases biodiversity. Genetic variation is increased. They're all of the same kind, so there's no genetic variation. Water use is increased. No, it depends with the type of farming. And then again, yield and the time, right? If it's water farming, irrigation, yeah, more water will be used. But if it's rain season, it's just normal. Yield of crop is increased. So yield of crop is increased when you have a large scale monoculture. Number 39 says, yeast can produce carbon dioxide and ethanol. What can be made using these products? Okay, what can be made when we have carbon dioxide? What can be made when we have ethanol? Carbon dioxide is not used as a biofuel. Carbon dioxide is not used as washing powder. Carbon dioxide is not used in fruit juices, but it is used in bread to raise the dough. And then ethanol is not used in washing powder. It's not used for fruit juice. It's not used for bread, but can be used to form fuel, biofuel, a biological fuel. So this will eventually be D. Number 40 says, bacteria can be genetically modified to produce a human protein. What is the first step in this process? Okay, the first step is usually isolation of what? Of the gene by using restriction enzymes. So it's going to be isolation of DNA, making up human what? Gene by using restriction enzymes. C. Okay, yeah, and that was the last question for this paper. Thank you.